Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today we're going to go over all the games announced at the MetaQuest Gaming Showcase. So get ready, headset, go. Welcome back to the show, guys. I'm Tony Hanson, joined by Rob Sprance. And as always, we are talking about VR and everything similar. And MetaQuest Gaming Showcase has just come out. They're announcing their games, and we're going to go over right now. Rob, what you got for us?
Yeah, so we had a bunch of games that they showcased, and thankfully it was just a video presentation, so we didn't have to sit there any weird, awkward in front of an audience. They used to do this. They'd call it Facebook Connect at the time, and they would have this event where they would announce a bunch of things and maybe a new headset, and then show clips of the games. I guess because of COVID, everything is now just these direct video, which frankly, I'm fine with that. It's a lot better that way anyway. But a lot of games were announced for the Quest. Now, these might not necessarily only be for the Quest, but of course it's Meta's event, so they're not going to mention that it's available on others. I'm hopeful some of them are, but at the same time, there's some nice stuff coming from them for the Quest, and it's from all different developers. It's not specifically Meta developed, so I'm sure some of these are timed exclusives. I'm sure some of these might be a full exclusive. I hope not, but that could be the case. And others are clearly going to be available on all platforms. They just didn't want to dive into it too much, and why promote anything other than your headset, which I totally get.
Of course.
So you can look if you go to our YouTube channel, Ready Headset Go. In the link, we'll put all of the links to all of the different trailers in the description below, so you can check out these trailers. But I just want to touch on a few that I really, really like. Now, there was DLC announced, additional music packs for Beat Saber. There was an add-on to Resident Evil 4. But I want to talk about more games. So may not cover everything, but here's the ones that excited me the most. The first one is called Bone Lab. Now, Bone Lab is from the same developers who did a really cool VR game called Boneworks, which is PC only. And the reason why it was PC only is because it's very physics-based. So they did the best that they could to make the physics as real as possible. So if you pick up a heavy box, you literally have to do it with two hands. And I guess they use the delayed motion trick to make you think it's something very heavy.
Right.
If you're pushing something that's heavy, you really have to do it to move the thing. It's very, very impressive how they pulled it off. But on top of that, part of my complaint with that is it wasn't really a full game as much as it was a bunch of levels. But, you had guns, you can shoot things, and it had a very Half-Life-ish kind of sci-fi vibe to it. Beautiful graphics, very, very well done. Now, Bone Lab is coming for Quest 2. This one they did say is going to be on PC VR as well. This one looked really, really cool because it does give you, it expands on it more. You have some more enemies. It looks like they have a lot more physics stuff. There's like a wall that gets broken and people are picking up the blocks. And it just looks very sci-fi to me. And the Quest users are going to love this because they can only experience it right now if they had PC VR using AirLink or Virtual Desktop. They didn't have any experience as far as being able to play it if they only had the standalone. So this is like the next evolution of Boneworks. So I'm quite excited about this one. I think it'll be cool, and I'm looking forward to it. So that was their first announcement. I thought it was really, really cool. The second one, this one seems like it might be a Quest exclusive, but they have a Ghostbusters VR. And they didn't say much about it. However, the trailer shows what appears to be 4 co-op people chasing a ghost with the PK meters there, and everything from you have the backpacks and everything about it. And it looked really, really cool. And then at the end, it said not actual gameplay in parentheses on the bottom.
I hate that.
And there's a couple of these that I'm going to talk about that clearly were using PC renders to show what it looks like. Now, this has been a big bugaboo for gamers for a long time, that they would be very frustrated that they would show a game like with the highest PCs, like 9 graphics cards running this amazing demo, and then the game would come out on PS4, and it was like a slice of what it really looked like as far as how nice it looked. But I will say that even if it's close to the graphics of this, it looked really nice. So it, from the trailer alone, what I got from is it looks like a co-op game. It looks like us, like me, you, and some of our friends can jump in and chase ghosts. And, you know, it's very cool in the Ghostbusters universe. So I like that one as well. That one seemed very, very cool. The next one, and this is one that I've geared up for here. I'm excited for. It's called NFL Pro Era. And in this one, you get to play a quarterback for your favorite football team.
That's awesome.
And you are literally calling plays and running the offense. And
that's fun.
Seeing everything. Now, there are games like this now, but they're stylized or arcadey. Like there's one where it's you're a robot, everybody's a robot. And it's fun to play, but at the same time, it's just kind of, it doesn't feel as real when it's like that. So there's not a lot of details. Is it going to be just a 2-minute drives like the other arcade game? Is it a full game that you get to actually call the plays? But the way the trailer looks, you can read the defense, you can point out guys, you make calls, you pick a play on your wrist, and you run the play. You can pass, you can run. And it actually looked, the graphics look very, very good. And that's something I would love to do. And just to give you an idea of how hard it is to be a quarterback, because even in that game where with all the robots, and the name of it escapes me at the moment, but even in that one, it's quite hard to read everything that's going on with all the people in front of you and stuff. So that's one I'm very excited about. Next,
there's so many different things in the showcase. I saw the zombie game, the robot one. You're saying the Ghostbusters VR. And you can't. I mean, oh man, you just wonder if Meta is going to do what they're trying to do and just take it all over and just be the VR that everyone goes to.
Well, they kind of become that already, for the most part. But I will say that this was clearly focused on games, because if you remember when that user saw photos of what he thought was Project Cambria, which we have now come to realize it was the Quest 3 that he was recreating renderings for. The concern was this is probably not going to be part of this is not going to be a gaming headset anymore. They're going to start going into the business environment, the enterprise environment. So they really made it a point to say, here's the games coming. So I applaud them for that. Look, you and I are gamers since we're kids, you know, so that at the end of the day is one of our favorite things to do. So the fact that they are still focusing on these games is a very positive sign. There's a, you know, I rag on them quite a bit for a lot of things, but they are moving VR forward at a much faster pace than anyone else has. Yes, it's at the sacrifice of maybe graphics have really took a hit because it's a mobile chipset, but you have to give them credit for the technology that they keep evolving. They are really, really working hard on this. So even if this doesn't become the metaverse that he wants it to be, it's still a great gaming device. And it's funny because as much as I'm a purist and I have the Valve Index and the HP Reverb G2 and the Index controllers, and I have, you know, this beefy PC, when someone asks me what they should get, if I ask them if they have a gaming PC and they say no, I tell them to get the Quest, because it's a great way to start. You open the box, you put it on your head, and you're playing. Like, you can't get easier than that, and you also can't get a price point like $299 to get started.
And that's the era we're at, especially with a new technology like this. It needs to be easy. I mean, having it in a company that we are familiar with is the reason why the potential for them to win is very, very high. And they're paying attention to the fact that they know in the future, and as much now they can, to make the headset as simple, as small as possible, and to just integrate it into your normal life as easily as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's negatives to that too. The negative of the low price point is if you go into any multiplayer experience, there are a lot of 9-year-old kids screaming and yelling. That's a problem.
Yes.
That's a problem.
I had the experience the other day, and they were just yelling at me. They're like, "You're such a noob."
Yeah. I know. Like if you like VR chat, at least they have a certain section of worlds that are PC heavy, like intense graphically, so you can't access those on the Quest. You go into those, most of the time it's people. I'm not saying they're like old bastard like I am, but they're at least 20, 25 and that ballpark, 30. You do go to one of those Quest rooms, man, it's just all kids. And like,
Yeah.
there was one kid, I mean, he had to be like 5. Like, why does he even have a headset on his head? You know what I mean? It's like it's become the ultimate babysitting device.
Well, so think about this. Let's have a talk about that. Even though it's a little bit of a tangent, but like people give their children the iPad, and they're gonna be sitting there, and you see the kids are a whiz at it, and I guess the bad aspect might be about it might be erased by VR because they're kind of like into it for a long time, and you want to make sure your child's not on a device for a long time. So now, what happens when your child is actually on and they're on VR in a world? Now you have to make sure it's an environment that's safe. But let's move on from that for 1 second. If it is that, then they are back to socialization again.
Mhm.
At least there's a little bit of a silver lining with that, right?
Although I will call it a silver lining, although if you see the socialization, quote unquote, that's happening in these rooms, that's not the socialization that we
I
do.
would hope that it would change and alter for the new world, and then you have the everyday kid all together in a room with the everyday kid playing a game, not with adults, not whatever, in their own safe environment. But will that happen? We'll see.
Yeah, imagine like the 3 most offensive words that you can call someone, and then you go into a room and like 11 5 to 10-year-olds are screaming it. Like that's literally what a lot of the
Yeah, that
rooms.
needs to not happen. That football game also is a Pro Era.
Yep, NFL Pro Era is the name of it. I'm looking forward to that one too. Thank you for putting me back on track, Tony. So
I it just came up for me.
So the next one that this might be the one I'm most excited about on the list. So one of my favorite VR games, even though I'm not super crazy about the show, is The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners.
Yep.
That to me is such a good game. It is so well done. It captures the vibe of what you think it would be like in that world. Like it's very slow and creepy and dangerous and looking around every turn. It's not like this horde of zombies coming at you all the time, but even though they're moving slow, in a matter of a few minutes, if your gun has to be reloaded,
they add up. They
add up quick. Especially you take one shot, they all start slowly. It's an amazing game. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. I have to find a cheat because I'm poisoned to the point where I have no medicine, and I'm poisoned to the point where I can't take a single hit without dying, but I can't find any more medicine. So like I'm in this end.
Oh man.
So I just want to at least just remove the poison one time, and I never use cheats. But I can't progress the game anymore if I don't find something. So
that happened to me with the original Halo. I was at a point, and every time I started, I'm on a Covenant ship, and the alien comes at me. The NPC says something to me, and I got into a bad situation. I had no health, and I kept dying over and over. And I sat on this for a month and a half. My friends would laugh because every time they came over, I cannot beat it. And I literally had to become. It was like that Live, Die, Repeat with Tom Cruise. I had to do it like literally 1,000 times, and I was the master of that board. And I probably still am.
That's great. Well, look, Elden Ring has a little bit of that in it, but
Elden Ring, yes, and I love the premise for Elden Ring, and they just did simple tweaks on how they feel like the game should work, and people are loving it, and the freedom of it is a good step in the right direction. I feel so. I think we're at a good time with gaming right now.
I agree, and I know this is a VR focus, but man, Elden Ring is fantastic. I love it, and I never thought I'd love a game where I die like literally constantly. But until you experience it, you don't understand.
You don't know who wants to be coddled. You want a challenge. You're like that's
Yeah. Like there's these RPGs. Like we're so used to clearing a bunch of easy guys on the way to the couple of hard guys. This game, no matter what you see, can kill you, and you need to be incredibly careful always. It's so great.
Yeah,
so great.
That's
like
fun.
very, very hard. Anyway, so The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners now has chapter 2 called Retribution, Now, the cool thing about Saints and Sinners is that they found a way to port this thing to the Quest, the full game. And it's very impressive how they did it. Yes, the graphics aren't nearly as good, but it's a full AAA style game in my opinion. So if you haven't picked it up yet, pick up The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. If you have a PC VR, you can get the PC VR version instead. But it's amazing. So this Retribution is the next chapter in this, and it looks really good. This is another game where the trailer and what they showed is clearly not Quest graphics. Like, there's no way. Like, even I don't even know if my PC can run what they were showing. But at the end of it, they have a new weapon, which is a chainsaw, and I'm all in on the chainsaw.
Is there any connection between Chapter 1 and 2? Are they actually using the same character, like porting it over?
I don't. Well, it's weird with VR games because there's no real character because you're kind of the character. So there's not a lot of conversation that I'm having.
What about like stats and such? There's no stats or anything like that. So it's just you playing and fighting.
No. That's a good. No, there's no stats or anything like that. You're playing and fighting, but yes, like they make it very hard to survive. Like I mentioned, I'm poisoned or sick because I got bit by one of these things, and I just can't get my health back unless I find medicine. And there's certain areas that drop medicine randomly, and you have to get there to get it. And I'm usually killed by the time I get there because I can only take one hit. It's just so it's Elden Ring only too much for me right now. But
yeah,
once I fix that poison part, I'll be fine. But I don't know how if it's chapter 2. I'm sure it's a continuation of the story. The story is told to you like there's your home base is like this abandoned school bus in a cemetery, which is cool in its own right. And they have a little radio there you can get like on a single channel. Some guy is talking to you and trying to guide you through it and tell you what you have to do next. And we're here, but let me get you there.
That's very much in spirit with the beginning of Walking Dead.
Yeah. So if it captures the essence of the first season or two. Mm-hmm. Not season 97 where it's rinse and repeat the same crap and everything over and over again. Like I bailed on that a long time ago. So if you're not a fan of the show, do not let that distract you from trying this game. If you're not a fan of zombies, do not let that distract you from trying this game. It's really, really good. So I'm looking forward to that too. Next one is Red Matter 2. Now, Red Matter was one of the first games I played on Quest. It's a graphical adventure. Those games where it's not action and shooting, but like you're in these environments and you have to solve puzzles and get yourself out into different areas and things. Mm-hmm. And it really did push the envelope on how nice graphics could look on a mobile device. And the second one, I'm sure, is going to be no exception. So if you're a fan of Red Matter 2 is coming, and it looks like the story is going to be equally as good. And again, a lot of these, I'm sure, are going to be on PC as well because the first ones are. So there's no reason why they wouldn't do that as well. It just seems like a lot more focus is going on the Quest because there's a lot more devices than anyone else, So there's that one. And now there's some others that were announced that have already been announced. Like Moss Book 2 was announced for PSVR, for the PlayStation VR, which is already out. Now it's coming to the Quest 2. Moss was a great little fairy tale game where you controlled this little cartoony mouse called Quill, and you took him through these little adventures and these little puzzles, and it's so fun and relaxing and beautiful to look at. So Moss Book 2 is coming to the Quest as well, and again, I've got to think it's come to PC because it's already been on PC, but for now that's confirmed. And the last one I want to touch on, yes, I know there are others, but these are the ones that I was most excited about. There's a game called Espire, which I played almost all of the first one, and it's a stealth type of game where you're in this facility, at least in the first one, and you take on these robot suits and you put them on, and you can climb walls, but it's stealth where you're trying to sneak through and take out the enemies as much as you can, because if you start shooting, you're dead. And there is no feeling better than having a tranquilizer gun and just pointing it at one of these guys, go, and they just drop. Like, I'll take that over a fucking machine gun any day of the week. You just point, and they go down, and they're out, and they're asleep for a little while. You can go guns blazing, and sometimes you have to, but it's very, very cool experience. So Espire 2 now has co-op. So now you and a second person can go through and do the same thing. So that is one I'm very much looking forward to, and maybe one that we'll start to play. I know we talk about playing some games as well for the show for sure, and that's another one. So a lot of exciting games were announced, and VR needed it because there wasn't a lot of games in the pipeline, and now we're starting to see all of these. Granted, let's see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the ones I mentioned are sequels. So, they're already building on an IP that exists already. But Ghostbusters, the NFL, there's also this JRPG called Ruins Magus. But I watched the trailer. I was all out on that. First of all, out of the RPGs, the Japanese ones are my least favorite, but it also looks really cheesy looking.
I was a big fan of Final Fantasy coming up, and Ruins does feel like a little bit like that. That's with me just seeing it and not knowing much about it. But it feels like a little bit like a Final Fantasy adventure a bit.
Could be. It looks a little like way too cartoony. And that's my concern is that some of these others. Now I can tell you right now, Red Matter 2 is going to look great because they did a great job on the first one. I'm talking about the Quest specifically now. Espire looked really good. I'm confident that that's going to look great. Walking Dead as well. The others, the jury's out. We'll have to see. And I get nervous when it either says not actual gameplay on the bottom or PC footage captured. For Bone Lab, it was PC footage. And if you're ever not sure what it is, just look at the lighting. If the lighting is really cool and reflective, you're not looking at Quest because it doesn't have the power to render all of that wonderful lighting and everything. But things are really looking up on the gaming side. Let's hope this is only the beginning. Let's not forget PlayStation's got the PSVR
right
too. And they're not just going to announce. They're not going to just say, "Here's the headset." They're going to announce a hell of a lot of games at the same time.
And that's healthy for the industry. You want VR to be competitive. You want them to fight for dominance. So let them go at it because some people got great technology. Facebook has the easy reach, but they can't just do anything. They need to fight for it.
Well, finally, there's a competitor, and maybe we'll talk about this next time. But the Pico Neo 3 is the first VR headset that also is going to act as a standalone. It's going to run its own games just like the Quest does. And the one thing that they've done that I'm frustrated with Meta for not doing is you can go direct to lens with a cable. So that's great.
Oh, okay.
See, the dog loves it.
Yeah, she loves it.
So that's it. So that's the ones that I was most excited about. Again, you can check all of those out. Just go to Ready Headset Go on YouTube. In the comments, we'll have a link to all of those trailers, and you can check them all out. Or I'm sure you're probably already searching for them halfway through this episode, and I don't blame you because I'm excited too.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. Check us out. Check it out. What you think? Let us know what games you're excited about. And, what do you think? What headset do you think about buying? Where do you want to play it? What do you think about the landscape for VR right now? So let us know in the comments below, and we appreciate it. I'm Tony Hanson, joined with Rob Sprance, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.